Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Codcast. I'm Andrew Snaith.
It's chip ball by Jarrett Rivers there, heading down into Leighton Watts in the penalty area. Chance for Whitby, look! Oh, straight to the goalkeeper from Leighton Watts.
Anywhere but there.
Yeah. Rivers now lays it off to Charles, tight to the right-hand touchline, ball at the penalty area from Charles, a good one. Tymon with the header, but wide of the mark. They are advancing forward now, a chance for Warrington Rylands. Ben Huff's got a bit of space in the penalty area. Great sliding challenge from Harley Dawson. It's going to be a corner for Rylands. Edge of Whitby's penalty area, chips it in. They're heading towards the back post. It's off a Rylands man, and then it is just dropping 1-0 to Warrington Rylands. It's Patrick Gamble who's opened the scoring. It's headed away, but only as far as Charles. Acrobatic effort pushed wide by Billing. Yeah, it was a lovely effort from Jake Charles. With the edge of Whitby's penalty area, a couple of yards back, going in from Huff there, and just Waring drops at the back post. But yeah, he has given it there as Waring put the ball in the back of the net. So he's going to be Leighton Watts. Heads it. Oh, what a save by Pilling! He's heading towards the back of the net, that one, but he's plucked it out as Pilling there. Got a corner to Whitby, then Watts delivers into the penalty area. Headed by Tymon! It's in! Rhythm is an answer! Tymon is the answer! Whitby level!
It took an absolute age across the line.
It was a lovely corner from Leighton Watts as Goose throws his child in the air. Uses the outside option. It is Burton actually now on the outside. Just cuts inside with it, gets a shot away into the hands of Bland. And there is the full-time whistle here at the Tobar Express Stadium at the Turnbull ground. Has finished Whitby Town 1, Warrington Rylands 1.
That was the story of Saturday's 1-0 draw at Warrington Rylands, and I can tell you that no children were hurt in the celebration of that goal. And I'm pleased to say that the commentators for that clip, Paul Connolly and Liam Ryder from This Is the Coast Extra and the Whitby Town media team, joined me to pick over that game and to look ahead to Tuesday night's trip to Cleethorpes. Dramatic stuff, I think. Overall, after having seen the 90 minutes, I think a draw was probably a fair result, Paul.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could argue with that. You know, you look at the course of the game and the chances, and you know, it's something that Lee Bullock sort of spoke about in his post-match interview. It was very much a story of the two number nines. You know, Whitby didn't really get to grips with George Waring in the first half, and he caused a lot of problems, and they obviously caused a lot of problems in an attacking sense, and especially in the sort of first 20 minutes of the game. I don't think we really got to grips with it at all. But yeah, once we settled into it and started to hit a bit of a rhythm, you know, Leighton Watts has had a really good chance. He maybe could have done better with it, but at least he's getting in the positions to have the chances. You know, eventually one is going to drop, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, obviously then we go into the second half, and I thought Whitby were very good value. You know, I thought Matty Tymon he was absolutely outstanding up top. I thought the players behind him did very well. Leighton Watts being one of those. Jarrett Rivers did very well. So did Jake Charles. Even James Harrison, when he came on, I thought James looked really lively. He looked direct. He looked like he wanted to get involved in everything, and ultimately he won the corner that led to the equalising goal, and what a ball in from Leighton Watts it was as well to Matty Tymon. But yeah, I thought on the whole probably a fair result. You know, again, I think Lee Bullock sort of referenced it in terms of we maybe had a couple of hairy moments late on in the game where, you know, we are going to win the game, but we left ourselves a little bit too open at times at the back. But credit to the Whitby defenders on the afternoon, particularly in the second half. You know, Alex Nelson came in at half time for Frankie Whelan. I thought he was outstanding. I thought that was a little bit of a difference maker as well, because we saw in the reverse fixture that what Alex Nelson is so good at is he pins his centre forward and he doesn't really let him get anywhere. He doesn't let him get any movement and doesn't let him sort of be free in his role. Whereas in the first half, he was maybe a little bit freer to cause issues. Nelson was straight on him all the time. He made a couple of vital challenges towards the end of the game, and he, you know, he puts his body on the line, which is all you can ask for, really. So yeah, on the whole, I think a draw was a fair result. You know, the two centre forwards for either side were very much the players that you would look at, but as well you would look at the keepers too, who both made some great saves. One of those being obviously Luke Pilling from Leighton Watts' free kick, Shane Bland made a couple of vital ones as well. So, yeah, the two goalkeepers certainly deserve a lot of credit for both teams, as do the two number nines and the attacking players.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear from one of our attacking players, the scorer of Saturday's goal, Matty Tymon, who spoke to Liam after the game.
Matty, it's yet another game, another goal for yourself. You can't enjoy yourself at the moment out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to score, but it's just a bit frustrating. Just can't seem to pick up these points. A bit frustrated at half time because the first half I thought we were really poor and we were lucky to go in at 1-0 really. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice to score and then put a run of games together, scoring, I think 3 and 3 and scoring the last 3 home games or something. So it's nice, especially when we're not scoring at the minute as well.
Yeah, and yet again, the games with game aside, it's another respectable point against a team up in that top 5 in the division.
Yeah, it's one of them where if we hadn't been needing those 3 points, you'd say, right, another good point, Bamber Bridge away, this game here today, Hedensford away, but you're thinking, well, we need to start picking up 3 points. So it's good, it's positive, it's a good point against one of the playoff sides. Picked up 4 points off them this season, but we just need to start turning these points into 3 points.
Yeah, and I think good as well, you consider the struggles I've had at home in particular, that, that was sort of an example there of really making it hard at home for a side, going towards those playoffs.
Yeah, like I say, I think the only positive we can really take from that is that in the second half, we done more what Bully and JK was asking for. And we actually got in the faces a bit more, and we got on the ball and started playing in that half a bit more, because first half it was really poor, and thankfully we just went in at 1-0. I don't think they threatened us too much. They had a few chances, but luckily that it was only 1-0, and second half we improved a lot. So hopefully we can take that into Tuesday night and kick on and try and take 3 points, because we've been doing all right on our travels this season.
Yeah, just looking at your goal as well, later what with the corner delivery, a header that's was well placed but seemed to take an absolute age to cross that line there.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I just seen Late put a good corner, and he's been doing that all game, all season, to be fair. And I've got away from my man, and I mean, it seemed as if it was in the back of the net as soon as it left my head, but just happy it went in. And then, yeah, just thankful we didn't get beat, and we've picked up a point. Any point's massive at this stage.
Yeah, and as well towards the end it looked like it was really Whitby pushing for it, but then all of a sudden a bit of momentum shifted, and yeah, again a load of added time that seemed to come from nowhere there.
Yeah, well, it's one of them. I mean, we're pushing to try and win the game, so we're getting a bit of momentum going, but you know what it's like in this league, it just takes one moment and then they've got us under pressure, and then it's a bit, with the run of results what we've had, it's like, we're panicking a little bit towards the end, but we saw it through and we picked up the point.
Yeah, just looking at the next match, trip to Cleethorpes on Tuesday night, hopefully this time, and again, as that's starting to run now of the games against sides in the rounds in the tables, they're going to be even bigger than these last few, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, Cleethorpes are a good side. Played against the manager quite a few times for few different clubs. They're always a big physical team, and they play to these sort of divisions really, really well. So it's going to be a physical game, a battle, and I feel like as long as we've got our head on to battle, like we did against Bamber, like we did against these today in the second half, I think we could pick up a point at least and then push on to try and sneak a win. I think that's what we need to do now. We need to try and just stay in the game as long as possible, and then as soon as we pick up a win, I think 2 or 3 might follow suit. We just need that rub of the green, a bit of luck at the minute.
That was Matty Tymon speaking to Liam after his equaliser. Yeah, Paul, you made an interesting point, actually. The goalkeepers were good, and Shane Bland made a vital save deep into injury time to safeguard that point. It is good to see Whitby working the opposition goalkeeper, Liam. I mean, that's a really positive sign.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're being very critical this season of, and the stats back it up that we're not scoring enough goals, but you've got to test the keeper in the first place, and it does feel that the last couple of matches, in particular, that has been happening a lot more. Really, yesterday's game against Rylands was very similar in a way to the one at Bamber Bridge a week before, where we had a really slow start, but then second half, you're consistently testing the goalkeeper, because really in the first half he didn't have much to do other than that 1-on-1 against Leighton Watt. So that's the promising element, is the fact that now we're getting into these positions where we are testing goalkeepers. We are getting shots off where perhaps wouldn't have previously. It's just about getting that, not just getting the 1 goal, getting 2 and 3, hopefully, moving forwards. But, certainly positive signs. I think we can be very happy with the last few performances, even the one against Gainsborough where we unfortunately lost late on. we haven't had a bad performance yet, I don't think, under Lee Bullock and Jason Kennedy. And you can see that the players are playing for them and playing to try and keep the club up. So that's that's what I want to see. And we've had a run now of games against teams up towards the top end of the division. Now it goes into a few games against sides in and around us, which really are the big ones. So if we can compete with the better teams, then you like to think you've got every chance against the lower teams, but it doesn't always work like that, as we know all too well.
Indeed we do, yes. Coping with those maybe more physical direct sides, I think, is something that maybe we need to work on. Let's hear from one of Whitby Town's joint managers, Lee Bullock, who spoke to Liam after Saturday's game.
Well, Bully, it's another game without victory, but yet again another very respectable point to get into good side this afternoon.
Yeah, I thought first half we got there eventually and conceded a poor goal, and then second half I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching us play. It was everything that we want and ask for. It was out there, so a good second half and probably a fair result in the end, but we'll take it against a very good team.
Yeah, and anyway, without the monsoon conditions, very similar to the game at Banbridge last week in terms of the start, where a bit on the back where they had that early chance, but once things settled down, it did feel more like a very evenly matched game out there.
Yeah, I thought for 18 minutes we started the game terrible. It took us 18 minutes to win a header, took us 20 minutes to win a second ball, and then all of a sudden Harley starts to win his headers and his tackles in the middle of the park. Suddenly the centre halves win a few, and I thought we were good from then on, but we go and concede a terrible goal from a few bad decisions on the front foot, and it comes to the other end and bites us. But fair play to them in the second half. Like I say, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good performance.
Yeah, and then a really sort of big key moments in that first half, the chance to later Watts 1-on-1, where really sort of just, I get when you got the keeper rushing out, quite a difficult one, but there just has a bit more composure. You could be going in a goal up in a completely different game.
Yeah, 100%, but I thought Leighton was good today. He needs one of them to go in, and he never let his head drop. That's what we've asked him to do, and he's done it. All right, two good goalkeepers out there today. Their keeper's made a couple of great saves, and so has ours. So if he'd have missed the target, that's a bit more worrying. He's worked the keeper. Keeper's made a good save. Not going to, obviously I want it to go in, but he's done everything he can, and he's a good lad and he's a good player.
Yeah, and then on the back of conceding that goal as well, going in a goal out the break, on the back of some better play from Whitby, was the message pretty much just a case of keep that up and hopefully you'll get something there?
It was believing what we're good at, which is, again, two good centre forwards on the pitch. I thought their number 9 ran the first half. I thought ours ran the second. When we start getting into Matty Tymon, high up the pitch, things happen. Other players get joy, and then a lovely delivery from Leighton and a great header. So again, Matty, since I've been here, 3 goals in 3 games, something like that. And he will lead the line, and he'll be the man that gets people going for us.
Yeah, and again, looking at a real threat from corner, something which I saw in that your first game against Gainsbury the other week, and yet again this afternoon, direct from it, a header that took a while to get across the line there.
Yeah, great save nearly, but Matty's, like you say, good delivery, good run. He's attacked it with belief. That's what, when Matty or anyone starts scoring goals, things like that happen, and we need a little bit more of that in other players in the team, but it happens through hard work and keep them going and keep believing.
Yeah, another positive as well, we saw James Harrison introduced off the bench later on. Probably hasn't had the best of loan spells at Bishop Auckland, but it felt like he came back in and really was trying to prove himself.
Yeah, I think Jarrett, obviously I thought he'd done well, considering he hasn't played for a while. All the subs that came on, Nella at half time, he went strong against that big lad and made a real big impact. Like you said, the lads off the bench, really good, all made an impact. And then Collar at the end, we brought him on to shore things up. Took Hazzy off, obviously an attacker filling in for us. So yeah, it's a squad game, we've told him that, and all subs came on and made a good impact.
Yeah, and looking at how the game panned out as well, it did feel very sort of end to end. A few nervy moments, seemed to be an endless amount of added time, and you're probably thinking not again after the last home game.
Yeah, that's all that was in my head there, and we started making a few silly decisions in fair play to them, because they're desperate to go and win it, but there's time and place and areas to put the ball, and we give them a few opportunities. But to be fair to the lads as well, they threw the body on the line, and both teams did on what was a tricky pitch after last night's heavy rain.
Yeah, and just one minute as well, he mentioned obviously Alex Nelson coming on at half time. It was for Frankie, where he looked like he was hobbling a tad, but doesn't look anything too serious, hopefully.
No, Frankie, it was via the physio. He'd been had a bang on the head, probably in one of them 100 fouls first half that we didn't get. He'd had a bang on the head and he wasn't feeling great, so instantly get him off the pitch. That's more important than heading balls out there.
Yeah, and I suppose really it set you up nicely for that trip to Cleethorpes on Tuesday night. Hopefully, fourth time lucky in that one. And again, a game there where it's against a side in and around us in the table, so a lot riding on that one.
Yeah, people have just said we're performing against the top teams, so I want to see us perform against teams in and around us. I want to see us playing to Tymon and get people off him, and let's see against people down in the areas we are, not saving it for your Warringtons and going away to Bamber, Hednesford and producing performances there. Let's have it consistently.
That's Lee Bullock after Saturday's match. I just want to mention Jake Charles, Paul, but you always worry when a player gets a yellow card early in the game, especially one that I didn't think was deserved at all. Jake Charles booked for a supposed dive after just 4 minutes. It obviously is going to hamstring anybody, but particularly one that relies on closing down defenders, putting challenges in early. But I actually thought he was quite a deserved man of the match.
Yeah, I thought Charlo had a really good game. He was one of a few in those attacking areas that I thought did really well. I found it a little bit unjust that 4 minutes into the game he's got a yellow card to his name, and like you say, it makes it very difficult for a player like Jake, because he is hard working. He runs a lot. Like you say, he presses, he closes down. He likes to go into a challenge, and that does hinder a side of his game. But I thought he adapted to it very well. He obviously, there was a couple where he won't have been able to go as full blooded as he would have wanted to in terms of sort of charging down and causing defenders clearing the ball problems. But I thought on the whole he did very well. It's just an awkward one really for Jake, I think, in that the way Whitby are set up at the moment, you can't really get him centrally enough to cause problems alongside Matty Tymon without changing the whole system, and then the whole system's sort of being worked to work around Matty Tymon and play off him. So it's a difficult one really with Jake, because we would like to see more goals from him, and that's ultimately the aim as a forward. But at the moment, playing off the left or off the right, depending on which one is chosen to do so. It was more so the left anyway. But I think it's now seeing if we can maybe coax a couple more goals out of him. But I thought a really good performance, and probably one of his best of the season, I thought, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I was impressed too. I thought it was a good performance all round. It was quite a tricky task to come up with a man of the match, I thought, Liam. I think all round, as you said earlier, the players are certainly playing for the management team.
Yeah, I don't think we had anybody that had a bad performance as such, really. A few contenders in there. Usually it's one of those of the man of the match. If in doubt, you go for the goal scorer, don't you? And that would again been justified for Matty Tymon's all round performance. But a few standouts really. As I say, everyone did what was expected of them as the minimum. But a few I think shout outs. Lewis Hawkins and Harley Dawson in midfield had a bit of a rough start, as did the entire team, to be fair. But I thought they really grew into the game and started to dictate a bit more, because you got to consider they've got Rylands had a midfielder in there that had played numerous games for South Africa national team not so long ago. So you got some good players in there to contend with. But that proper thing of game of two halves, I guess. But yeah, the second half performance, and it follows on from Bamber Bridge. It probably is, I don't want to say dominant, but as strong a second half performance we've probably had for quite some time, and particularly as well at home, where we know about the struggles we've had. Sort of evidence there that we're actually starting to make it now hard for teams to come to the Toba Express Stadium, and getting them penned in a bit more, which is what you want to see, because it gets the fans on side. I think that was probably the loudest I've heard it from the Whitby persuasion from quite a while. So that's what it works both ways. The players put that effort in and get that sort of attacking intent, and the fans get behind them too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's maybe helped by that feeling of injustice. I think the referee probably helped to bring with some of those early decisions. And on the subject of that, Paul, I mean, we saw Leighton Watts clash with the number 10 of Warrington Rylands. He was shoved over right in front of the officials. I mean, on another day, that could have been a red, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think it could have been. I think there was a little bit building up to that as well, wasn't there, between the two players? So I think we referenced it on the radio as it's one of those that the referee seeing sort of both elements of that. Either Leighton has been shoved over, and that was clear as day. But you think obviously the referee and the linesman together seeing sort of both sides of it, and the both players sort of needling each other in the build up to it. I think they were always going to go a yellow card apiece. But you are right. A different referee potentially sees it completely differently, and does sort of produce a red card either way for that one. But it's one of those. It wasn't the finest refereeing performance of the season at the Zobar Express Stadium, but. Yeah, that's the difficulty. Much like the players, the referees are at this level for a reason as well. And they are going to make mistakes. They are going to, not see things, or they are going to call things what we would potentially perceive incorrectly. And ultimately, we do know it's the hardest job on the field. So I don't like to knock the referees too much. But yeah, you do get frustrated a lot of the time as well. Particularly, I think it's more you can almost not let go of the bad decisions, but you can almost understand if they're consistent. Whereas there was times where it didn't feel the most consistent yesterday. There was fouls that were given one way and not the other. Particularly in the first half, there was a hell of a lot. So yeah, I think the biggest thing for me for referees at this level is consistency, and yeah, it frustrates me more when we don't see consistency, because I kind of half expect every decision not to be perfect, with them being human and them refereeing at this level. But yeah, I don't mind as much if they're at least consistent with it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. We look ahead to Tuesday now. Tough trip to Cleethorpes. First ever trip to Cleethorpes for the Seasiders in the history, I believe. So a new ground for everyone, really. And hopefully we will have Frankie Whelan back fit again. Liam, that was the one of the downsides of Saturday, seeing him go off.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting one with Frankie, actually. So we were speaking about this after the game. So basically, he said he had a bit of a doozy spell. So not actually an injury as such. I don't know what's triggered that. It was just a bit of a whack on the head at some point or what. But yeah, his post-match panic seemed to sort him out. So I'm hoping he'll be back in contention for Tuesday.
Yeah, well, that's good news, but also a little worrying. Obviously, a player who suffered a head injury earlier in the season, and don't get me started on the referee for that Bamber Bridge game. We'll be here for the rest of the day. But as we record on Sunday, hopefully the Blues can put in a strong performance in midweek. And Sam Collins was introduced late in the game, just after Whitby had equalised on Saturday, and I caught up with him earlier on.
Yeah, so it was good for us to get back in the action with the lads. It was a tough game to come on as well. Obviously, I came on straight after we scored, and both teams were pushing for it. And I thought it'd have been a tough game to come on to, and it was very high speed and direct, which I expected, to be fair. But yeah, felt really good to get back out there with the lads. Yeah, we had a few chances. First half, we had a 1-on-1, which, I mean, it was a tough chance, to be fair. People's running back late to try to lift it. The keeper's done a good save, to be fair. But yeah, like I said, we had chances again. Just unfortunately couldn't put them away. Couldn't kill the game off. I mean, there you had chances. Brandy pulled off a good few saves. The performance as well. First half, I think we started quite slow, but we done that towards Bamber as well. And as the game went on, we started to pick up and show why we're a good team. Like passing the ball around. I mean, second half we had them pinned right in, and they didn't really affect us. If I'm going to be totally honest, apart from the last 5 minutes where we were pushing for it as well as them. But yeah, Cleethorpes on Tuesday. Be a tough battle down there. Obviously, it's been called off this game about 4 times, so hopefully we can get it on. I know their game was called off on Saturday, but yeah, I can imagine the pitch not being too good, but it'll just be another right out battle, which I think they'll come out on top one.
That was Sam Collins speaking to me earlier on. I think an attacking move for him to come on for those last 10 minutes just after Whitby had levelled matters. It felt like that was a move to try and maybe push things on a bit.
Possibly. I mean, we sort of spoke to Lee Bullock afterwards, and I think he was looking more of a natural defender on that left-hand side, just to try and show things up. But Colo, he does offer a lot in terms of an attacking sense. You know, he's a good fullback in that sense. He does get over halfway. He does try and get the ball into the box from deep and cause problems. And we saw that a couple of times as well. So I think he gives you something both ways. You know, he is a natural defender, out and out. But you know, he's got a bit of pace. He's quite a powerful runner once he gets going as well. He can beat a player or two. So he's certainly one of those I'm glad to see back. I don't think Aaron Haswell's done anything wrong in that left back position. I think, you know, once again he's been absolutely excellent, and I think he's the sort of player every side needs. That, you know, he'll always work hard and he'll play anywhere and run through a brick wall for you. But yeah, obviously, you know, that left back spot is Sam Collins is to reclaim, and you know, he can only do that with minutes on the field. So we only saw him for 10 minutes yesterday, just to get him back into it. But I'm looking forward to seeing him back in the side and battling it out with Haswell for that left back position, because I still think there's a battle there at the moment. But certainly, you know, I think Haswell, obviously we know what he possesses in an attacking sense. But yeah, Sam Collins very, very similar in that, and he does like to get forward and go on those runs. He likes a little run in field and beat a couple of players every now and then as well. So yeah, good to see Colo back, and like I said, looking forward to seeing more of him over the coming weeks.
Definitely. Cleethorpes away then on Tuesday, and if you can't make the trip to Lincolnshire, we do have live commentary with Paul Liam and the rest of the media team from 7:45 p.m. on This Is the Coast Extra. And as always on the Codcast, we end things with Boost the Budget, Liam.
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier in the week, in the earlier episode, you know, time's ticking now for players to come in, but whatever's in the pot, I'm sure it'll get carried over to next season now, and hopefully help us build a competitive squad over the summer. So yeah, if you're interested in making a pledge for that, just head to whitbytownfc.com, and there's the tab at the top, or you can just go down to the shop page and you'll see Boost the Budget on there. So you can make a direct debit payment through there, or if you just want to make a one-off pledge or got any other fundraising ideas for that, just get in touch, and we can direct you point you in the direction of Craig Moff, the club's finance manager. So yeah, a few options there for you, and like I say, if it doesn't get you this month before the window, as we may call it, shuts, it'll be used over the summer to start building for next season.
Indeed. Thank you very much to Liam, to Paul, to our other guests, Matty Tymon and Lee Bullock. And a reminder again, Tuesday night, Cleethorpes away from 7:45, live commentary on This Is the Coast Extra. And we'll be back with another Codcast to sift through the wreckage of that game and to look ahead to the weekend action as well. But for me, it's bye for now.